Ladies and gents, welcome back. Now, there's no surprise that there's a hefty tab for the unnecessarily large police force that was brought in on the weekend for the Rolling Thunder rally in Ottawa. Now, just like any construction zone, if you have 17 supervisors for the one guy holding a shovel, it's going to get a little spendy. But here we have on Global News reporting here, Rolling Thunder convoys, again, convoy, calling it a convoy, cost Ottawa Police about $3 million from the board chair. The Rolling Thunder protest in the national capital over the weekend cost an estimated $2.5 to $3 million to police, says the chair of the Ottawa Police Services. Now, there's a lot of people taking to social media commenting on how ridiculously large this police force was, and it's funny how the media is not talking about it. But we have here Diane Murphy takes to Twitter to say, "This is anyone else surprised? I'm not that the mainstream media didn't show pictures of the massive unnecessary police presence in Ottawa. Bet they're real disappointed that that the event didn't provide the damning evidence they would love to broadcast. Won't see this stuff. They won't see stuff like this from them. No. And just massive numbers of police here. Now, Diane Murphy is not just some nobody. She's a former photographer for Prime Minister John Chrétien, not a liberal. She makes sure to write down here. But yeah, there's many people showing just how large the police force was and how unnecessary it was. And it led to some provocation right here. I believe this is Rideau Street, where a few trucks that had come through had managed to get down the street, were blocked off by the police and then towed. A few arrests were made, which is in the article. But the police unnecessarily smashed out windows on these vehicles. I mean, there was no way anyone was able to get anywhere anyway. The road had been blocked off, so if people wanted to move, they didn't have a choice. But yes, there's a massive police presence here. Here's another video showing more massive unnecessary police. I mean, there's a few people there, and the police are just moving a few people, more police than people in this instance, although there was a massive turnout for the event. Now, the article goes on to say, Ellie L. Chandri said police are expected more convoy protests in the future, and a sustainable solution needs to be found. I could think of one, maybe lift the mandates. It's funny because the biker rally was for the veterans, but the rest of the protesters that came, they were freedom protesters against the mandates. And it's no secret to their motives here. It's not a secret agenda. It's very straightforward. They're requesting that mandates be lifted just like they are being lifted in every other country around the world. Not sure what is going on here in Canada with the government. Protesters arrived on Friday afternoon as a part of the Rolling Thunder rally organized by Freedom Fighters Canada, a group dedicated to speaking out against COVID-19 mandates. Now, they don't make any mention in here that the Rolling Thunder rally, specifically that rally, was there for the veterans, and that was the purpose of that. But yes, Freedom Fighters Canada is a group dedicated to speaking out against COVID-19 mandates. El Chandri said the police, included officers brought in from outside the capital, were prepared for every eventuality and had intelligence about the bikers and their plans. Well, they weren't very intelligent, honestly. I had Neil from the Hill on this show. Ottawa Citizen even reported quotes from it. So the media knows about what's going on, who they've been talking to, and I mean, public statements. It's unbelievable. But less is known about the intentions of their other protesters, not part of the core group, who arrived in pickup trucks, big rigs, and camper vans. Well, we do know the intentions. That group, we didn't know who's who, El Chandri said in an interview. the relatively peaceful protest have escalated if officers had not been so well prepared, he said. So we had 3 weeks of protests that were completely peaceful until police provocation occurred in February. So, and again, in this scenario, the only incidents that occurred were provocations from the police. I'm not going to show it here in this video because the last one got age gated, but check out my video showing the woman who was shoved by police, provoked into responding, and then was subsequently tackled by a giant policeman for this very small woman. It could have gone other way easily, he said. A lot of people were denied entry to the downtown with their vehicle. Yeah, that's correct. Ottawa Police called in more than 800 reinforcements from the RCMP and other forces to help, including by blocking off highway exits and streets in the downtown core to prevent encampment forming. 800 reinforcements, 800 cops. That's just outrageous. Police Safety Minister Marko Mendichenko thanked the police, including the RCMP, for their decisive and effective response to the events in Ottawa over the weekend. Police incorporated lessons learned from last winter and took the proactive steps necessary to maintain public safety, he told the Canadian press. We've all seen this guy lying through his teeth, but yeah, absolutely a false statement. It was exactly the police that came in with the provocations in February, and also in this case here. El Chandri said the police also had rapid response teams on hand. Police with riot shields were deployed on Friday evening in downtown Ottawa without real necessity, in my opinion. The chair of the police board, which oversees the public services, said he had been briefed by interim chief Steve Bell. Bell was not available for an interview on Monday. Over the weekend, 10 people were arrested, including 7 who had taken part in the earlier Freedom Convoy protests and had breached their court orders banning them from returning to Ottawa, El Chandri said. So this being said, there were 3 new arrests on the entire event over the weekend. 3 new arrests. It cost $3 million to arrest 3 people at a protest. Just let that one sink in. That's 800 cops to arrest 3 people. If this was an actual issue, there would be reporting on many more. Of course, this is down towards the bottom of the article because that's where you find things. But yeah, if 7 of these people were arrested for just being a breach of orders. So they happened to be there. They were recognized from another protest, so they were picked up. But only 3 people were arrested on new charges. Just take that one home. The Ottawa Police said in a statement that the arrest pertained to different criminal code offenses, including breach of conditions, assaulting police, and causing a disturbance. Well, we saw the assaulting of police was the being shoved by a cop, turning around, not knowing it was a police officer shoving back. That was that one woman on the rollerblades. The statement added that all traffic restrictions have been lifted, including blocked off roads in the city center. Ottawa Police drew lessons from the protests in February, clearly not good lessons, when throngs of protesters opposed COVID-19 public health measures and the federal government choked Ottawa's streets for weeks, the board chair says. Peacefully for 3 weeks until the cops showed up. But the protesters are evolving in different in nature, and Ottawa Police need to be ready, he said. One size does not fit all, El Chandri said. This could happen at any time, so we have to prepare and have the resources. The federal government has agreed to foot the $35 million bill for policing of the 3-week Freedom Convoy protest in February. Unbelievable amounts of money. $35 million. The occupation prompted the Trudeau government to invoke the Emergencies Act for the first time. It ended after hundreds of police officers from forces throughout Canada moved to disperse the crowds, making dozens of arrests. Now, there's clearly a contention right now, and they're having hearings about the efficacy and of the legality of actually having the Emergencies Act being invoked at the time. The board chief said plan, and not only that, it was unnecessary because the police action that they took didn't require the Emergencies Act. The board chief said a plan, including a financial plan, was needed to deal with future protests, which show no signs of stopping. We have to find a sustainable way to do this, he said. It will be working with the federal and provincial government to find sustainable ways for the future. Don't bother talking or having any dialogue with the grievances of these protests. Am I correct? It is important for the people of downtown Ottawa to be able to enjoy their city without constant disruption, El Chandri says. I'm trying to find a way to sustain a cost and want the community who live there to enjoy their summer and their home, he said. Mendichenko added, Ottawa residents indeed all Canadians have the right to go about their daily lives in peace and security. We are grateful that this was the case this past weekend. Now, the question here is, can they foot the costs of continuing these mandates when the rest of the world is moving on from mandates? The only reason why they have these protests and they have to spend these exorbitant amounts of money on police officers, again, based on this article, $1 million per arrest. $1 million per arrest of peaceful protesters, which are probably going to end up being trumped up charges or charges that get dropped or charges that just get dragged through the system. We'll see what happens. But 3 new arrests. Again, 7 people that were just detained because they broke conditions from a previous protest. So 3 new arrests costing $3 million. Can they sustain maintaining these mandates? That's really the question. Anyway, well, that's all I got for now. We'll see you in the next video. Keep on trucking.